Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Rainer and welcome back, alright? Welcome back to another edition of my weekly market analysis, alright? Because you are so, I'll say, so kind of you, right? To actually spend each weekend on a Monday or a Sunday with me, watching my videos. So this week, alright, I will be covering namely the few major currency pairs. I'll look at the indices as well, in particular the Nasdaq, because it has actually broke out to a multi-year high. So definitely something that caught my attention, as well as to share with you a potential trading setup on the Bund. And towards the end, right, I'll give you more details about my upcoming live trading webinar, right? It's been planned for over the last few months, and finally, I'm actually finalizing everything. So I'd like to share with you some details about it, and hopefully you can join me. And by the way, it's free. So all this and more in this week's market analysis. I'll see you over there. Okay, this is the daily chart of the dollar Canadian. So let's have a look at it, right? So dollar Canadian, you notice this is strong support over here, which was broken, I think, last couple of weeks back when price break and close below it. So right now, right, this week price simply consolidated below the low of resistance. However, right, even though this, I would say, this doesn't mean that the trend is over, right? Because you look at the weekly chart, right, the longer term trend, this could simply be what is known as a retracement back towards the 50 EMA. It's possible, right? Because you look at previously, it bounced off the 50 here as well and here as well. So medium term, right? I don't deny that medium term, right? The momentum is towards the downside. But always keeping in mind, right, the longer term trend, which is on the weekly chart, right? This is how I define my long term trend, right? It's still in an uptrend, and chances are what we are seeing right now is simply a correction. So for traders, right, who trade perhaps say the lower time frame like the daily or the 4-hour, right, you can look to get short, but always bear in mind that on the weekly, right, the longer term trend is still up. So if you are looking to short, right, be nimble with your profits, right, do not expect, right, huge risk to reward, right, because chances are price will do a correction before we see another upwards rally back here once more, right? This could be a likely scenario, and if that occurs, right, you want to be, quick with your profits. So just something to share with you guys who trades intraday or shorter term swing trading. So up next, we'll look at another pair, right? Let's look at the British pound dollar. British pound dollar. Again, something interesting appeared this week, alright? So previously, we see the 20 and 50 period moving average, right? Having I'll say, showing to be a dynamic resistance on the pound dollar, right? Then we had a false breakout once before price trade lower once more. Then it rallied higher, bounced off the 20 EMA, traded lower, forming a potential double bottom over here. Then it rallied higher once more, right? So right now, it has broken the 50 period moving average once again, right? And there's this potential resistance over here, and it just closed, I would say, into the resistance. So again, something to pay attention to in the coming weeks, right? I have no idea whether the resistance will hold, right? Or whether, this could be a real breakout whereby we can see higher prices in the coming weeks or the coming months. All this I can't predict, right? I only can just tell you what I see on the charts and just manage my trades accordingly. But as of right now, right, pound dollar is something I'm still on the sidelines, right? I'd rather watch how this pairs plays out before I take any trading opportunities or a position on it. But what is the one that actually attracts me is actually the euro dollar. Because in terms of relative strength, right, it's the weakest, right, compared to the other currency majors. You see that it's still respecting the 20 and 50 period moving average, right? So we have this resistance coming up over here. So it's definitely a level I'm looking at and to trade as well. So the thing about trading is this, right? There are many ways to enter a market, and entries is very, I wouldn't say subjective, but something that suits you, right? Some traders like to trade the pin bar engulfing pattern, right, to wait for confirmation. Some traders like me, I simply queue at a specific level if I think it's a good level to short. And some traders would like to drill down in the lower time frame and look at how the price action unfolds. And honestly, there is no right or wrong method to do it, right? Because there is more than one way to skin a cat. And just because I use a method that's different from yours doesn't mean I'm right and you're wrong, right? And likewise, it doesn't mean that you're right and I'm wrong, right? There is more than one ways to skin a cat, and I will always advocate that if you find something that you're comfortable with and it's making you money consistently, stick to it, right? Don't always jump the gun and try something different, because it's going to mess up your trading plan and your trading results, right? Because the key thing is this, right? When you trade consistently, right? Okay, sorry, there's no space, right? What are you going to get? You trade consistently, you're going to get consistent results. Do you agree? Okay, I misspelled this. So the thing is, when you trade consistently, you're going to get consistent results. It doesn't mean that you're going to make money, right? if your trading plan or your trading edge in the market is a negative one, you're going to get consistent result, but it's just a negative one. And likewise, if you trade inconsistently, right? Inconsistently, what are you going to get? You're going to get inconsistent results, right? So when you get inconsistent results, it's going to make it very difficult to find out where is your mistake, because the results are so inconsistent. One moment you're doing this, right? You're trading a candlestick pattern. One moment you're trading a breakout. One moment you're just, blindly queuing at the level. So your entries and everything is all so mixed up and puzzled. So where are you going to find room for improvement when everything is so inconsistent? So the only way you're going to, work on your trading plan to improve yourself is to trade consistently, right? When you trade consistently, only then can you find what is the missing puzzle in your trading, right? If you still trade consistently and you're losing money, then you can actually find where is the mistake. Could it be your entries? Could it be your exits? Or could it be in your risk management? So only if you trade consistently will you find the errors or room for improvement in your trading, right? But if you trade inconsistently, then I can tell you, right, you'll forever be in a rat race, hopping from one trading system to the next, because there's no way to find out what is wrong and where you can improve on. So this is a very important concept, and I hope you guys understand this. All right. So moving on, right? Let's move on, right? Earlier I mentioned that I'll be talking about the indices. So let's look at it. S&P 500, right? This is the weekly chart, and you can look there, on longer term time frame, right? The S&P is still in an uptrend, right? There are still higher highs and higher lows, no doubt about it. But over the last few weeks, right, price action has gotten very choppy. Just look at the tight range it's done over here, right? Honestly, if you're an intraday trader, this range is tough to trade, right? Because price is just whipsawing up and down, and yeah, it's tough, right? Because it's still in the what they call consolidation, right? Even though on the weekly it's on a higher time, it's on an uptrend, right? So this is something to bear in mind. However, the interesting thing is that the Nasdaq, right? It made a decisive move this week, right? Notice this swing high over here, the resistance, right? When this week price broke above it, right? Broke and closed above it. And the S&P has not occurred, right? So it's telling me that the Nasdaq is a relatively stronger market to trade. I'll be looking to long the Nasdaq. And this is a market that I want you to watch as well, right? Because in terms of relative strength, it is one of the strongest ones. So I'm expecting, I would say, further upside in the coming weeks or the coming months. So this is something that I'm watching. So there's no guarantee it's going to, rally all the way up to 5,500, 6,000. But, I'm just watching the markets, and I would say trading with the trend, right? I'm not going to think that, the market now is for Nasdaq is overbought, right? Can't go any higher, blah, blah, blah. But, I don't think along that lines. Rather, I think that, it's a trading higher highs and higher lows, and I don't know where will be the top. So I will just continue to trade my plan as long as the trading opportunity presents itself. Yep, trading my plan consistently, right? So up next, let's look at another one, which is none other than the Bund. So where is the Bund? The Bund. Gosh, all right, this one. So on the weekly chart, right, you see the Bund is actually also a very strong market to trade, this bond market. It has not even come back to retest the 20 EMA on the weekly, which is a red color line. It has been above it since what date is this? 2014. Since January 2014, it has traded above the 20 EMA until now, which is more than a year later. It's still above the 20 EMA. So this tells you that this market is strong, is trending really nicely. So any opportunities can we look to get long? So this is where multiple time frame comes into play. So let's look at the daily chart. All right, scroll back a little bit. You notice that again, right? I look at the 20 and 50, and you notice the dynamic support, right, on this particular product is beautiful, right? And this week, right, it's back in once again, finally. So this is not any trade recommendation for you guys, but I'm just pointing out that this area, right, this potential, dynamic support area has been holding up over the last few months, right? So again, it's back in here once again, right? So something for you to look at, right? It could potentially rally higher from here. So just to pay attention, right? And likewise, right, this isn't a holy grail. Likewise, right, price could actually trade lower, breaking the 50 EMA for the first time in the last 365 days. So these are all possible scenarios in the market. So again, right, I can't predict what it'll do, but the only thing I can do is to manage my risk towards the downside. And let's cover one more product, all right? How about corn, right? Corn, something that I like to eat because it's quite sweet, and right, there's no bones, right? Just shove the thing and shove it up my throat. So yep, this is the chart of corn. So look at it, which, right, corn. Again, right, tested the 20 and 50, traded lower, they came back here and started consolidating between the 20 and 50 period moving average on the weekly chart. So I'm looking at potential, I won't say targets, but potentially look to retest this multi-year lows over here. So on this, the weekly chart. So look at the daily, right? we see there is significant support, right? I think it's a I think it's a 52-week low right? Over here, right? So price closed into that low this week. So I would say I'll be watching how corn is going to react in the coming weeks, right? Whether there's a further bearish momentum towards the downside. And if there is, right, I'll be looking to short this particular commodity towards the downside. So still keeping an eye on corn and something to share with you guys. And now, so let me share with you something. Right? Earlier, remember I said that I'll be doing an upcoming live trading webinar, right? So basically, right, it's a live trading webinar that I've decided to conduct, right? Basically, it's covering technical analysis 101. I'll be talking about support, talking about resistance. I'll talk about, how I identify range markets, trend markets, and stuff like that. And I shared with my subscribers, right? I think last few days, right? I mentioned there's a upcoming webinar, and I said to them, right? Say, I need some help before I finalize everything, right? Which is, how you can help is actually just share with me what are your top 2 questions about technical analysis that I absolutely need to answer in this upcoming webinar. So I actually entertain all your questions, right? But I think an honest mistake I made was this, right? Because I mentioned the word technical analysis, which is actually a very broad term, right? Technical analysis can cover almost everything and anything under the sun. And so it's too general. So I would rather, I replace this word with support instead, right? Support, resistance, or the range markets or the trend markets, right? I think I'd rather answer questions relating to what I'll be covering, which is actually support, resistance, right? Trending markets as well as range markets. So if you have questions that you would like me to answer, I would say stick it to, this topic that I'll be covering in the coming webinar. So again, right, I'll be trying my best to answer all questions that you have, and I will see the questions are already rolling in right over here. Everybody's leaving comments for me to answer. So yeah, I'll look through them all. I definitely look it all because you put in the effort to type it out. I will definitely, put in the effort to read it and, see how I can help you best. And the thing that I want to share with you is that this webinar, right, I finalized it that it will be on the 7th of May. Okay? Details and more regarding the time and stuff like that is still, I would say, I will let you know in the coming days ahead, but the date has been finalized. It's on the 7th of May. Okay? So if you want to be updated on this upcoming webinar, I would suggest that, you sign up for my subscriber emailing list over here, because I'll always update my subscriber first, right? I'll tell them what's going on. They are always the first to know. So if you want to be the first to know, you want to keep updated, I will encourage you, to just sign up over here, and, it's free, so that you can always stay updated to what I have to offer. So that's all I have for you guys in this week market analysis. Hope you guys find it useful. If there's anything, feel free to leave comments on my website, on YouTube, or you feel free to email me, right? Because I read every email. I enjoy interacting with each and every one of you. And with that, I wish you guys good luck and good trading. I'll talk to you soon.